creative financing strategies, owner financing, lease options, subject to seller carryback, using partnerships and private money, and then of course, installment sales contracts, contract for deed. Creative financing strategies, owner financing, lease options, subject to seller carryback, using partnerships and private money, and then of course installment sales contracts, contract for deed, those sort of things. Who in here has heard of installment method now? Yes, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, everybody's heard of it. So I did send out a sample contract for that, one that we did 2 years ago, for an installment contract. That is not new. That has been around for 100 years or whatever, a lot of years. The thing that makes it new is that is the method is being reworked and put on the acquisition side versus sales side. So we've been selling things on installment contracts for years. Never really dawned on us that, hey, we might want to think about acquiring properties that way, because we didn't really need to back when we could assign contracts. Okay. Asset sales. Has anybody heard of that? Okay. That's interesting. See, you're like, man, nobody's heard of it. So asset sale is where it's owned in an LLC. The property's owned in an LLC and you buy the LLC, or you assign the rights to that LLC. And here's where that comes into play as a wholesale option. And I'm going to just touch on this because it's not in the slide. So I'll get to it right now. Is if you signed a contract for ABC LLC is going to buy 123 Main Street, and then you go and you market that LLC for sale. You can say, I'm going to sell my LLC, and here are the assets involved in the LLC, right? You are tiptoeing around this law. You would have to be very, very careful about what your marketing says and doesn't say. Here's the reason I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole is because when you buy that asset, you buy everything that asset has ever touched, looked at, smelled, and been involved in. So if that asset went and took out a $50,000 credit line and you don't know about it because that doesn't show up on a credit report, and you buy that asset, yes, you got a property, but you also got $50,000 debt. You guys see how that's a little bit of an issue? So I would be very careful. I wouldn't do that. I personally would never buy something like that. But that's what that is. That is a way to sell property contracts by you actually sell the whole asset. Okay. Any other creative strategies that you've heard? Business funding, using your own credit. Perfect. The big thing is, and I'm not trying to take sides on it, but the Real Estate Commission has always looked out, and they're set out to look out for the homeowner and to help them not get taken advantage of. That's why agents have to have continuing education. That's why they have to have a fiduciary responsibility. Commercial agents, it is the wild, wild west. So you're selling commercial property, you're on your own. And so that's why they have attorneys. Yeah. So commercial property, you can play in that place, play about sandbox, whatever you want, and you'll be fine. There's a term for it where if you use someone's power of attorney for your gain, it is bad news in the legal system. Like, yeah, exactly. It's probably fraud is the word for it. Yeah. So the limited power of attorney is still the same. It's a power of attorney. You should be acting on their behalf to sell. If you do an option agreement, if you go to exercise your option, they are contractually obligated to come and sign that document at that price. You're not changing any contract. So that would be fine because you're not going and making money after they sign a power of attorney. Option is a contract. Option equals contract. That means you're selling a contract. You don't have ownership of that property. So it's not equitable interest. Right, because you're foreclosing on the option and you're evicting on a lease. It's two separate documents, where it's lease is separate. You can actually kick them out, but if they have an option, that option is still valid. No, it's just a contract that you agreed to sell to them for a price. That's the same as a purchase agreement.
Hey guys, real quick, it's Andrew, and thanks for listening. I just want to give you a couple of tips. Go over to dealfindersclub.com/resources to get more information on the things that we're talking about today, some downloads, and some links to some of our partners that can help you do your business better. And if you want to get connected and join us at some of our live events, check out the events page right there on dealfindersclub.com. And if you're ready to build, reach out through a message or chat with us through the website. You can find us there. And hey, as always, like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.
There are other things. There are other creative ways. There are other examples and strategies that maybe I didn't hit on and maybe we haven't even thought of yet, because that's why they're called creative. You just make them out of thin air sometimes, which is, go watch, what's the movie about 2008 Crash, where they just made this stuff up out of thin air.